Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. All these videos, they get posted on the subreddit right here. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you need, you can ask me questions about the slate. People talk strategy here. It's a really, really great place to be. I'll have this link down below. And then if you ever do need to get a hold of me privately, I'll leave those up because I have the rotations up. Here's my Twitter. Here's my private Twitter. If you ever need to message me or anything, I'll have that link down below as well. All right, so let's take a look at my lineup from tonight. Finally had a losing main slate. We'll see if I can salvage with the showdown slate, but I would have had a big day if my whole lineup was not involved in a blowout tonight. So Darius Garland, no fourth quarter minutes. Karis LeVert, no fourth quarter minutes. Liang, no fourth quarter minutes. Sam Merrill did play fourth quarter minutes, just didn't do anything with it. And my core today, it was pretty solid. GG Jackson, core play. What else was core? Karis LeVert, core play. He did not play the fourth, like I said. I told everyone to get to Bam Adebayo or Jarrett Allen. I think both had good games. I went with Bam Adebayo. He smashed. And Jimmy Butler. And just my whole lineup was involved in blowouts. So nothing I can do there. I think I missed the cash by like 5 points. Yeah, a couple points. So pretty unfortunate. Nothing you can do about it. And we are on to the next one. If you're looking for more DFS content, prize picks content, sportsbook content, have my Discord link down below. But without further ado, let's get into this 6-game slate. Should we start going backwards or should we start with a juicy game in the front? Let's go backwards tonight. Let's do that. Let's start out with this atrocious injury report. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, all questionable tomorrow going up against the Portland Trailblazers. If I had to guess, at least a couple of these guys are probably going to sit. I don't really think anyone's really sat this year besides Kristaps Porzingis. They're playing Portland here as well. So if I had to guess, at least a couple of these guys might sit. We already have Porzingis out. So let's say, all right, it's a good matchup. Ton of blowout risk here going up against Portland. Let's say we have a similar situation to last game. Everyone plays but Kristaps Porzingis. Then if you're playing for a competitive game, I'm going to be pretty high on these guys. Al Horford at 5.4K. Going to play for 30 minutes. We know he's a stat sheet stuffer. He's still too cheap at 5.4K. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. All four would be a bit too cheap. All would be really, really solid point per dollar plays with Porzingis out. As far as ranking point per dollar, I think Tatum probably would be number one for me. He just does everything for this team, plays huge minutes. If you're playing for a competitive game, so he'd probably be my favorite. And then probably Derek White second, Jaylen Brown third, Drew Holiday fourth if I had to rank them point per dollar. But I mean, Tatum is just my number one. Then you can kind of flip coins. That's outside of Horford as well. So I think all of these guys look very, very solid if they do all play and if you're playing for a competitive game here. Now, if we get a situation where like some guys sit, then we're going to be loading up about like Peyton Pritchard would look amazing. Sam Hauser would look amazing. We'll keep an eye on what they do. Al Horford would have the team to himself. He would look really, really good. And then they're probably going to have to dust off, like, I don't know, Springer. Like, let's look at the Celtics depth chart. I'd assume some of these guys are in, some of these guys are out. But Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser will both look amazing if all these guys sit. Al Horford, Tillman's going to have to get some minutes. What else? Jaden Springer's probably going to have to get dust off. Like I said, there's going to be a ton of value here if you play for this late news. Like I said, I think some will sit. We'll see if they all play. I really don't know. But Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser would all look phenomenal if some or most of these guys sit. And then, like I said, if they're in, then they'll dust off Tillman, Springer, et cetera, et cetera. Then if they're in, kind of already went over that. But we've got a Portland, so Jeremy Grant is the big one here. We'll also keep an eye on if Scoot Henderson is going to remain on a limit. He was on a limit last game. We'll also keep an eye on what they do with the starting lineup. So if Grant's out last game, they did keep banning the starting lineups. Chris Murray, they went with Simons, Ayton, Kamara, Banton, and Chris Murray. So if we get a similar situation with Scoot still remaining on a limit, and Banton starting, and Jeremy Grant out, and Chris Murray starting, I mean, the guy that stands out to me is going to be the main guys. Simons, Ayton, Banton, 5.1K. Banton played 42 minutes in, I believe it went to overtime last game. He's been incredible for his team. Even at this price point, I think he's a really solid play. What else? DeAndre Ayton played huge minutes. Not the best matchup here up against Boston. Could be a bit better if some guys rest, but I think he's a good point per dollar play. Simons with the team to himself. He's going to play a ton of minutes. I have no issue with him. What else? Kamara, he's fine. I think I prefer Banton. If Scoot's on the limit, hard for me to go there. I think I'd rather just play Banton. Chris Murray, probably my least favorite of the three. Matisse Thybulle played big minutes, but I'm not going to play him. And then if Jeremy Grant's in, we'll see what they do. Do they start Scoot at the point? Do they keep Banton in the lineup and just move Chris Murray to the bench and start like a Simons, Banton, Grant, I believe Kamara, and Ayton? They could do a number of things. But if Scoot's not on the limit and Jeremy Grant's in, it's probably going to take me out to value depending on starting lineups. And then it's going to be a downgrade to Simon. It's going to be a downgrade to basically everyone. Not much would stand out to me here if Jeremy Grant does play. Still playable plays, but wouldn't be going out of my way to play anyone. Moving on to the Toronto Raptors. So another game with a lot of blow risk here. We also have RJ Barrett and Bruce Brown both questionable. So if we get a situation like last time where both of them are out, they want a starting lineup of Emmanuel Quickly, Kelly Olynyk, Gary Trent, Grady Dick, and Ochai Agbaji. So obviously there's a lot of blowout risk in this game too. But if you are playing for a competitive game, I think you have to have interest in these guys. Grady Dick played 40 minutes. I'd really like him for value. Ochai would be playable. Chris Boucher, he's been in the rotation of late. He's been getting minutes. I like him quite a bit for value as a solid value. Freeman Liberty's in play at 3.5K. Quickly, Kelly Olynyk, Gary Trent, all would be really solid point per dollar plays. Once again, blowout risk. Can't say it enough, but there will be definitely a lot to like here. Not in a good matchup if these guys are out. And I'm going to keep saying it. People like to avoid teams because they're in bad matchups. If you guys saw it the other day when I was going over Minnesota and Cleveland, I think it was, there was like 4 Cleveland guys in the optimal lineup, and people just avoid teams in really, really bad spots. So you can get guys at lower ownership if they're in bad spots or if people are scared to blow it, et cetera, et cetera. So like the ownership, I don't think is even going to be that high on these guys if RJ Barrett and Bruce Brown are out, right? If RJ Barrett and Bruce Brown are in, then, I don't know if I go to like a Grady Dick. He'd still be playable. He'll be in the rotation, probably play low 20s minutes. Downgrade to like, Quickly. Downgrade to Trent. Trent will be priced right. Don't know if I play like any Agbaji. Boucher would be a lot riskier, so wouldn't be too much here if they are fully healthy. Moving on to Denver. So I love Jokic. Love the spot for him. I think he's a really, really good spend up. I haven't even looked at the spend ups on this slate, or I forget actually. Luka, is always going to be the number one option. We have Victor Wembanyama back. We do have Booker back, so that's going to hurt Kevin Durant. But yeah, I think Jokic does look great. I think he's a really good spend up if you have the money for him. Jamal Murray's just been on an absolute tear. I've been on Jamal Murray every single slate, and I don't know why I wouldn't go back to him on this slate. He's playing huge minutes. He played, I forget if Jokic checked in. I know it was a blowout. I think Jokic did check back in. I think it was close enough for him to play. But going to play 40 minutes in a competitive game. His rates are way up. His usage is up. It's just literally just give the ball to Murray, give the ball to Jokic, get out of the way. So, yeah, I'm still pretty high on Jamal Murray. MPJ, Aaron Gordon, they both seem priced right to me. KCP, no thank you. I think we'll just have better value. And then if you do need a cheap option, Peyton Watson should see low 20s minutes. He's actually a reasonable value for salary relief on this slate. Moving on to Dallas, Luka Doncic, no matter the matchup, he's always going to be the best spend up on the slate. He's literally averaging like 75 fantasy points over the last month. So Luka Doncic always looks phenomenal if you have the money spent up for him. Kyrie Irving is always going to be much, much lower owned than Luka, so I don't mind Kyrie as a pivot off Luka, but I'd much rather just pay up for Luka. And then getting to anyone else on this team is basically just impossible with like Kyrie hogging usage, Luka Doncic hogging usage. So yeah, we also have Lively backs that are going to run a three-headed monstrous center rotation, so it's hard for me to go to Gafford. So yeah, pretty unappealing. PJ Washington, he'll play close to 40 minutes, but don't love it. Don't love the price point there. Moving on to Chicago. Good matchup here. So I think the main guys look pretty good here. Vooch, DeMar, Kobe White, I think are solid options. I would say Ayo's probably my least favorite point per dollar, but he'll play big minutes. That's a good thing with him. He's very, very safe. Stat sheet stuffer. He'll play close to 40 minutes. I would say he's probably about priced right for me now. I think I'd rather just pay up for like Kobe White, DeMar, Vooch. I think DeMar is probably my favorite, again, of the main three Bulls, given the matchup as well. Dallas does give up a ton of stats to opposing forwards. A ton of points, ton of assists, ton of rebounds. So it's a good spot for DeMar. Vooch, I think, is good too. He should be able to feast on this front court. So I am pretty high on the main three here. I think Caruso is very, very safe as well. When it's not a back-to-back, he will play high 30s minutes. I believe he got a bit limited here because it was a back-to-back. He got into some foul trouble as well, but he should play high 30s minutes. He's also a stat sheet stuffer. I think he's a very, very safe play at 5.3K. I don't know if I go to any value here, though. Let's move on to Golden State. Steph Curry going to remain out. Draymond's probable. Moody doesn't really matter too much. He's not playable at that price point. So last game, though, was starting lineup of Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, Trace Jackson Davis, and was it Moody? 309. No, it was, who am I missing? Draymond Green. What am I saying? Apologies for that. So with that being said, it's a really, really good spot going up against the San Antonio Spurs. Assuming Trace Jackson Davis does start again, I do think he stands out as one of the better value plays on the slate. Over a fantasy point per minute guy. Should see low 20s minutes. So really like Trace, assuming he does start again. If he does start, and they go with, Wiggins, off the bench again, not too high on Wiggins. Klay Thompson, no thank you at that price point. Draymond Green, his minutes have not been great. Should see around 30 minutes. I think he's probably priced right. I think the guy I like in GPPs here, or two guys I like in GPPs here, are Jonathan Kuminga and Chris Paul. The minutes have not been great on Jonathan Kuminga. He did get into foul trouble last game. Still played 30 minutes, but it's a really, really good spot. We know the ceiling he has. You would think he'd play a bit more. So I'm intrigued by Jonathan Kuminga for tournaments. One of their highest usage guys. He's always low owned. Has an insane ceiling. So I'm intrigued there. And then Chris Paul, I think, is very, very safe. Should play over 30 minutes. Stat sheet stuffer is double-double upsides. Good spot here going up against the Spurs. So, yeah, I think CP3 is solid. Wish he was cheaper like it was last slate, but still firmly in play. Moving on to the Spurs, Devin Vassell is probable. I haven't seen anything if Victor is going to go back on a limit here. I would hope not. But assuming he gets his normal 30-plus minutes, I love him at 10.5K going up against the Warriors. I mean, he should be able to dominate here. So assuming he is not on the limit, I love Wemby here. Everyone else, I think, is kind of priced right or priced up from when Wemby was out. I think they're still in play. Like Keldon at 6K should see 30 minutes off the bench. I think it's reasonable. Sochan, he's been playing big minutes of late. I think everyone's kind of just priced right from when Wemby was out, though. But if I had to pick a second guy, probably would be Vassell at 7.6K, who I do like for tournaments. And then I guess Keldon would be my third favorite. Trey Jones' minutes have not been great. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's move on to Phoenix. Not much here. Booker's going to be back. That's going to hurt Nurkic's minutes. Also a really, really tough spot here going up against Cleveland. It's going to hurt Kevin Durant. Still in play, but not my favorite. Bradley Beal gets a downgrade. He's priced right. Grayson Allen's overpriced. Eric Gordon doesn't really matter too much. So, yeah, very, very unappealing team here for Phoenix. All right, moving on to Cleveland. So we have Donovan Mitchell questionable. We have Max Strus. I don't know if they got rolled in already. I was refreshing Underdog before I made this video to see if we had an update. I don't think so. Okay. Max Strus, I guess, questionable. Dean Wade, also questionable as well. Was Dean Wade rest today? Personal matter. So he's probably going to be back. But just in case, we'll go over both ways. So if everyone's out that was out today is out tomorrow, then there's going to be a good amount to like here. Jordan Niang, I would really like for value. Okoro will be a solid value. Sam Merrill will be a solid value off the bench. Craig Porter Jr. is going to get more run off the bench, even though he crushed in the blowout tonight, but should see around 18 to 20 minutes. He'd be a decent option at 3.3K. They started Karis LeVert today. I'm high on him if he starts again. Darius Garland's a solid option. Then Jared Allen is good. And then if everyone's in, downgrades everyone. Mitchell, if he's, what's his injury? Knee. If he's not in the limit, good spend up. Garland going to be a downgrade. He'd be priced right. Jared Allen will be priced right. Karis LeVert will be overpriced. Max Strus will be priced right. There wouldn't be too much here. So I'll make updates on Reddit when we do get this news. Who's in, who's out, what that changes, all that good stuff. Reddit link will be down below. Also do want to mention Isaiah Mobley. Got the backup 5 today. If he gets the backup 5 again, I mean, you can take shots on him in GPPs. All right, moving probably to the best pace game on the slate. As far as defensive rating, pace goes, Trey Mann is doubtful. Simic, I think, really stands out to me at 5.8K. He's been doing everything for this team, stuffing the stat sheet, got a double-double last game, should play over 30 minutes. So, yeah, like me some Micic, he just has not put the ball in the basket. And then with Grant Williams starting, that's going to help Nick Richards as well. Like, take a look at the rotation here. Charlotte. Nick Richards before wasn't really playing over 30 minutes, but back-to-back games he has gotten over 30 minutes, so that will have helped Nick Richards a little bit. I have interest in him at 5.7K. Good point per minute guy that clearly has a ceiling, so I'm intrigued here by Nick Richards and GPPs. I think Grant Williams is very, very safe. And then I'm pretty high on Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller in this spot going up against Detroit. So, yeah, Nick Smith will be in the rotation with Trey Mann out. Bertans, I think he's priced right, but in play. So, yeah, I think there's a good amount to like here on Charlotte. Moving on to Detroit. So one thing to note with Detroit, they're running a really, really tight rotation of late. So there's a good amount to like here. Cade Cunningham at 8.4K. I really like at that price point. Durant, he got into massive foul trouble. It's a really good spot for him. I like him in GPPs. Jaden Ivey's been playing close to 40 minutes a game. I really like him at 5.9K. Oscar Thompson's been playing huge minutes. He's very, very safe. Keep an eye on if he's on a limit. He left last game with an illness. I don't know what that was about. Isaiah Stewart, he's been playing big minutes. I think he's a decent value. Wiseman crushed because of Durant foul trouble. I'm not going to chase that. But yeah, I think the main 5 starters definitely look pretty solid here. Simone's playable. But yeah, I think this game looks pretty solid. So hopefully you guys had a good night tonight, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.